Hi guys, it's me Karen, and I'm going to do a quick little tutorial on how to ink on paper. I was asked in a group how to do it, so I'm going to use the Distress ink from Tim Holtz, and these are the colors I had done my layout in today, so I'm just going to use these colors again because I have everything out on my desk. This is just a piece of printer paper, and it is a thicker paper that I use to do my inserts with, and I'm just going to tear it down so I have a smaller piece, and that'll give me a cool edge to do too. Okay, what you do is you decide on what ink you're going to use. This happens to be the Tim Holtz tool that he uses, and it has a little sponge on it, and these are velcroed on, and you just ink up your thing and then you ink your paper. Now there are a couple of things. You can also use like one of these little sponges. I've used these quite a bit. I don't have an orange one, but I can use a different color with one of these. So I'll get out something, another ink color I have, and use one of those just to show you how they are used. Okay, so first you want to get ink on your pad here. I always like to have a scratch piece of paper kind of close, just so I know how much ink I'm getting on here. So I kind of rub it on there and see if there's enough ink on it. Okay, there is. Now, when you start to ink your paper, most people will take it, and I'll show you how some people will ink this. They'll just take it and they'll run it on there, and you get these little triangle pieces. Okay, what my trick is starting off the paper. There's glass on my tabletop. You can use another piece of paper under here, or a piece of wax paper, or one of those silicone mats that help you with this process also. But you just start off the paper and you kind of get yourself in a circular motion going like this. You will also tilt. So here's the desktop, and keep your ink kind of at an angle like this. So you're going to be bringing the ink into the paper this way, but you're going to start out here in a little circular motion. So all I'm rubbing is this portion right here on the table. Okay, and then you just bring it in very lightly, and so you're just getting ink on the edge. And if you do that, you'll get this really light effect. So I'm not putting very much pressure on this at all, and I'm keeping it at that angle, and I'm always starting off out here. And as light as I'm going, well, let's show you. You can put a piece of paper under here and it won't get any ink. That's how light I'm going on this side. I put more pressure on this end, so when I'm bringing it in and rotating it like this, that's where the darkest spot's going to be. And you just keep going around the edge like that. Now, because this is Distress ink and it's water soluble, it kind of stays wet, but you're not going to get it all over you unless you really douse this with a lot of ink. Now, here is where I had the showing you how to do this. And if you want to get rid of this effect, you can by just running over it the same way I did the other. I'm just going in the paper further. So you can kind of get out some of those markings if you want. It also depends on how much ink you really want on your paper. So that kind of blurs it in. If you also want a different effect, you can take like a water bottle and you can give it a little spritz. Wait a few seconds and wipe it up. And you'll get this really cool kind of splattery effect on there. Now, if you're doing this, it's going to warp the page a little bit because water and paper expands the little fibers in the paper. So it'll warp it up a little bit. So if you're using this in a planner, that is something you have to keep in mind. I happen to like crinkly paper, so that's fine with me. The other thing you can do is get, like I have a stamp. If I can remember where I put it. And this is a, it's like little bumps. So if I was inking this over here and I wanted to get a little variation in it, I would use the little stamp and put some little splatters in there like that. And I've done that on the planner pages too, and that makes that cool little effect there. If you want to bring another color in, like on my planner page I did a black. This is another Tim Holtz. It just happens to be a round one. We're going to use it the same way, tilting it on the side here, using it over here, and then just touching very lightly where I want some of the black. And we'll bring it in a little further. And you'll notice I've got some of this circular motion going on here. Also, it's very black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in with the orange and make the orange darker. And it helps move the black around. Oops, fold my paper here. So you get a little effect of it, like a little fuzzy cloud going in. And if you want to, you can always add in some spots to correct any of the little seams you don't like, or you can use the water, or you could take a paintbrush. I have one of those around here, and put a little water down, a little ink down, same color. Okay, and you can get the ink wet, and you can splatter it on there, and you'll get the same effect as with this little splatters, as with the stamp. You can get this really wet if you wanted, and you could also kind of do a splatter effect with the tool, and you get a different effect that way, like with any sponge. But remember, you're going to be using a little water, and the paper will get a little wobbly on you. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can show you on inking. Oh, I was going to use a sponge, so let's see if I can find a sponge in a color that I have out here. And it doesn't look like it, so I will use, what color this is, brown one, and we'll use some brown distress ink here. This is Vintage Photo, Make sure I get some on here. And I'll just use this side here. And it's the same process with the sponge. You want to start off and bring the ink in. You don't get as much ink on the sponge as you do with the other tool that he has, but it works nice. And the more you put the ink on the edges, the more you're going to get in there. The nice thing about the sponge, if you wanted to do something like a stencil, I have just a stencil here, and I'm going to do some of these arrows across here. You can just get your ink on there and do some stenciling like that, which is kind of nice. So there we have an arrow across. So I hope that answers your questions. If you want to go in here too, you can also make a line, which I did on some pages too. So I just line it up. It's probably not going to be the straightest thing. And then just go in here. And it can kind of look like washi tape lines. Anyway, the whole thing is to have fun with what you're doing, and you can bring different colors into your layouts and or anything else you're doing. So I hope this helps. Just remember to go in with a light hand at first, then you can go darker on the edges and just start here and bring the color inward. Light motion. There you have it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope it helped you out. Bye now.